as a continent has now defined ourselves.
In the news, government to support artisan refinery operations. Across Africa, first female president to be sworn in Tanzania. On the global scene, China tells the United States to solve racism and discrimination. In business, group accuses SPDC of plot to divert attention from missing 16 million barrels of crude oil. And on the entertainment scene, Nollywood actress celebrates husband. And in sport, Kenya calls off football friendly with Tanzania. Details shortly. This is TOS Television, your digital first Pan-African news network. I am Abigail Okwade, and this is TOS News 360. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo said an addition of artisan operations in the oil industry will help reduce youth restiveness in the country. He stated that it will promote availability of petroleum products, employment opportunities, and it will also reduce the cost of petroleum products generally. The Vice President made this known while declaring a two-day national summit on integration of artisanal refinery operations in the downstream oil and gas sector in Abuja. President Osinbajo said refiners will be regulated to prevent environmental degradation, as he assured continuous support from the government.
Over the last couple of years, the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari has been focused on growing the economy through infrastructural developments and improving our local content, especially in the area of oil and gas. We recall how in November 2016, in a move to address the concerns in the region, President Muhammadu Buhari met with the Niger Delta leaders under the aegis of the Pan-Nigeria Delta Forum, PANDEF. This led to the PANDEF 16-point demand to the federal government, which was subsequently captured in the federal government's own 20-point agenda to develop the region. Following this meeting, I undertook, on behalf of Mr. President, a tour of the oil-producing communities across the region to feel the pulse of the people, to better understand their demands, and also to consolidate our thoughts and ideas around the new vision for the Niger Delta and to inform the people of the Niger Delta.
The convener of the summit, who is the senior special advisor to the president on Niger Delta affairs, Senator Ita Enang, pointed that petroleum products are refined by artisan refiners in the Niger Delta states and not remitted to the federal accounts.
The minister also wants to use this opportunity to inform Nigerians that the efforts today are already on in the area of gas. As you all know, Nigeria is rich in gas resources. So the ministry is also coming up with methanol fuel technology. The ministry is supporting full domestication of knowledge in that area, just as we are going to support full domestication of knowledge in the area of crude oil processing.
A crowd of civil servants have blocked the entrance gate to Imo State Government House in Owerri. The civil servants who got to the Imo State Government House in Owerri stopped vehicles from moving in the premises. The development caused a scene as security men tried dispersing the protesters. Some of the protesters carried their letters of appointment and said they were at the government house to prove to the state governor that they were fully employed. The governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, had earlier said that those who have not received their salaries are ghost workers. The protesters chanted that the statement of the governor was discouraging to them. Muslim Rights Concern has told the federal government and other stakeholders to caution the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, to order over its role in the hijab crisis in Kwara State. Director of MURIC, Professor Ishaq Akintola, made this appeal on Thursday. He He stated that Khan should be held responsible for the crisis in Kwara State. TOS TV had reported that violence broke out at Baptist Secondary School, Surulere, Ilorin, Kwara State, over a refusal to allow female Muslim students to use hijab. Khan, on their part, blamed Kwara State government for reopening closed schools without settling the crisis, which led to the vandalization of properties in the state. The president, Kwara Baptist Conference, Dr. Victor Dada, while pouring out his emotions, noted that more than 20 people were wounded, with 3 hospitalized during the violence. The Federal Executive Council has approved the sum of 1.72 billion naira for projects in the work and housing, as well as ministers. Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, made this known to journalists after the FEC meeting that was chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday. The minister also revealed that 8.64 billion naira was approved for his Ministry for Works in the Enugu-Onitsha Highway. He noted that the Ministry of Works and Housing had presented one memorandum to Council, which was for the revised estimate total cost of the project of the Enugu-Onitsha Highway, and it was to add 8.649 billion to the section on that contract to Niger Construction, which is a 22-kilometer section of the 100-kilometer road. Babatunde Fashola noted that the Council has approved 8.649 billion in favor of Niger Construction. The federal government of Nigeria, through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disease Management and Social Intervention, during its National Social Safety Net Project Engagement meeting on Wednesday with state permanent secretaries across the nation, has restated its commitment to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty within the period of 10 years. It made this known in a meeting in Abuja, as he said it will be done on national conditional transfer, otherwise known as household uplifting. Fajimi Adebayo has the details.
While speaking with TOS News on how to achieve the objectives of the program across the nation, the National Coordinator of Conditional Transfer, Mr. Jafar Ibrahim, said the meeting is an essential approach to abreast all permanent secretaries on which the program is housed on their supervisory role for proper implementation of the program in their respective states.
This program is designed a bottom-up approach. It is a structure that was put in the federal, state, and local governments. The permanent secretaries, where the program is housed in each state, they have a supervisory role and the implementation in the states. That's why we feel they should come here. From time to time, we meet with them, abreast them with the activities, if there are additional activities. And if you see, most of the permanent secretaries are new within their own ministries. So ministries are created newly, and then they transfer from a ministry to another ministry. So we need to have a very close collaboration with the ministries at the state government for the proper implementation.
Expressing the objectives of the program, the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Welfare, Akwa Ibom State, Mrs. Margaret Annette Edem, said it is to ensure that the conditional transfer that ought to get to the vulnerables is not influenced by politics.
We must ensure that the money that we are going to give to the vulnerable people get to the right hands. It's a program that we should not play politics with. It's a program that we should not allow the state governments to over-influence. It's a program that we must do bearing in mind that we want to touch lives, and we want to touch these lives positively. Because what we look at the end of it is how to better the lot of the less privileged in our various states. So we, as permanent secretaries, must ensure that the money gets to the right hand.
Adebayo Fajimi.
Nyesom Wike has blamed the worsening insecurity in the country on alleged attitude of the federal government. He said the federal government has an alleged habit of politicizing security matters, noting that until there is a change of approach, security will not improve in the country. Wike said if the federal government had taken decisive action to tackle kidnapping when the Rivers State government appealed for assistance, the problem would not have spread to all parts of the country. The governor recalled that when Rivers State was faced with security crisis, most of the APC governors in the north said he was playing politics. Counting on his achievements, he said no former South governor, particularly those that served between 2007 and 2015, could equal his achievements. General Manager, Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, Mr. Olajide Oduyoye, has condemned the murder of an officer of its agency, Obasu Segun Godwin, as well as the assault on another officer, Adeniyi Hakim. The deed was alleged to have been committed by the operator of a Suzuki commercial bus, popularly known as Korokpe, and others at Anthony area of Lagos State on Tuesday. Oduyoye explained that the Obasu Segun Godwin and Adeniyi Hakim were attacked with machetes and other dangerous weapons by the driver of a commercial bus. The general manager noted that the sad fact about the incident was that the whole saga was that the two officers were in Mufti on their way home, having completed their morning shift and closed for the day. You are watching TOS News 360. Up next is news across Africa and the international scene. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. Across Africa, Tanzania is set to swear in Samia Hassan Suluhu as its first female president after the death of President John Magufuli on Wednesday. According to the Tanzanian constitution, when the office of president becomes vacant by reason of death, the vice president is to be sworn in and become the president for the time left before 5 years completed. Samia Hassan Suluhu, who became the first female vice president when Magufuli was elected in 2015, is now set to be sworn in as Tanzanian president. In a broadcast on television, Samia Suluhu Hassan said Magufuli died of heart complications on Wednesday night. Reports say 4 people were killed and 9 wounded when a roadside bomb hit a bus carrying Afghan government employees in Kabul. A ministry and advisor, Abdul Samad Hamid Poya, on Thursday said the blast hit a bus that was rented by the Afghan Ministry of Information and Technology to transport its employees. So far, no one has claimed immediate responsibility for the blast. Meanwhile, the Afghan government blamed Taliban insurgents for recent attacks that have been targeting government employees, civil society figures and journalists. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has paid final tribute to the late Zulu king Godwin Zwelithini, who died last week. Zwelithini was buried on Thursday in a private ceremony in the presence of his family and very close friends. He was the longest-serving Zulu monarch for more than 5 decades. President Cyril Ramaphosa expressed his condolences to the Zulu nation as he noted that it was a difficult day and that the nation is in a state of mourning. Zwelithini died at the age of 72 last week in the eastern city of Durban after weeks of treatment for a diabetes-related illness. A court in Egypt has sentenced human rights activist Sana'a Saif to 18 months in jail after finding her guilty of spreading false news. She was detained in June as she tried to file a complaint about an assault that she had allegedly suffered. Prosecutors later accused her of making unfounded claims about the handling of COVID-19 outbreaks in Egyptian prisons. After COVID-19 reached Egypt, she accused prison authorities of mishandling outbreaks. Human Rights Watch documented several suspected outbreaks at prisons and police stations between last March and July, during which time it believes that at least 14 prisoners died of COVID-19 complications. The 27-year-old was detained on 23 June outside the public prosecutor office in Cairo. Amnesty International said she had been convicted on bogus charges stemming purely from her peaceful criticism. On the global scene, China has called on the United States to listen to voices from its citizens as well as international community to be able to take actions as regards solving racism and discrimination matters in the country. The call of action was made on Thursday by the Chinese Foreign Minister Zhao Lijian. The statement made as a response to a recent report from the forum, Stop AAPPI Hate, that showed about 3,800 incidents that were reported during the pandemic. The minister said racist incidents towards Asians, including Chinese, came up frequently in the past, and these ugly behaviors are infuriating and pathetic. He therefore called on the United States to protect and guarantee safe and legitimate rights and interests of Chinese nationals in the country. The Health Ministry and Prevention in the United Arab Emirates has reported 2,101 new coronavirus cases on Thursday. In addition to new cases, 2,628 people had recovered and 10 others dead. The ministry made it known that it concluded 328 additional COVID-19 tests in the last 24 hours. It stressed that it aims to continue expanding the scope of testing nationwide to facilitate the early detection of coronavirus cases and carry out the necessary treatment. So far, the UAE has recorded 434,465 coronavirus positive cases, 416,104 have recovered, and 1,424 have died. An expected reduction in UK's COVID-19 vaccine supply in April is as a result of delay in delivery from India of 5 million Oxford AstraZeneca doses. The shipment produced by the Serum Institute of India has been held up for 4 weeks. Housing Secretary Robert Jenrick made it known that neither a single factory nor a country was responsible for supply issues. Meanwhile, the Department of Health insists it is still on track to offer a first dose to all adults by the end of July. NHS England warned of a reduction in supply in April in a letter to local health organizations on Wednesday. You are watching TOS News 360 on your digital First Pan-African News Network, TOS Television. Up next, business, entertainment, and sports after the break. Thank you for staying tuned. You are still watching TOS News 360. Now in business, some civil society groups in the FCT Abuja, comprising of the Arewa Consultative Youth Movement, Ohaneze Indigbo Youth Movement, Consortium of Lawyers for Human Rights and Justice, Oduduwa Youth Assembly, and the Niger Delta Youth Council have said that they have intercepted credible intelligence that Shell has resorted to coordinating and supervising a global smear campaign against ATO and the company executives aimed at diverting attention from the crude theft allegation, thereby sabotaging the nation's oil revenue.
Speaking for the group, Tochukwu Ohazurike said the Shell Petroleum Development Company must be held accountable and made to refund the market price of the 16 million barrels of crude oil stolen.
Some indigenous companies in Nigeria that export crude from the Bonny Oil Terminal, which is operated by Shell, complained to the Department of Petroleum Resources about the level of unaccounted crude pumped into the terminal through the Nembe Creek trunk line. DPR, being the government agency that regulates the Nigerian oil and gas sector, conducted an investigation and discovered that through the unapproved metering system Shell had deployed, it had stolen over 2 million barrels of oil.
According to the group, the alleged smear campaign by SPDC is targeted at coercing and intimidating ITO to part with its ownership of OML-29 and the Nembe Creek trunk line, and withdrew all the suit it has incurred against it.
ITO on its own hired private expert investigators and auditors who discovered that it was not actually 2 million barrels of crude that was stolen by Shell, but 16 million barrels.
The group further reiterated their earlier position that the Department of Petroleum Resources, being the government agency that directly regulates the Nigerian oil and gas sector, conducted an investigation and discovered that through unapproved metering system, Shell had deployed and stolen over 2 million barrels of oil, which the agency asked to be refunded. Rose Audu.
Recent report of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, has shown Nigeria's crude oil production has increased to 1.42 million. The country recorded the biggest increase in crude oil productions last month. Nigeria produced 1.49 million BPD in February, up to 161,000 barrels from 1.33 million PBD in January, according to secondary sources. The report showed that as the COVID-19 pandemic had a major impact on the oil market balance, OPEC, together with its non-OPEC partners in the Declaration of Cooperation, took historic action to help stabilize the oil markets. According to the group, non-OPEC supply is expected to have declined by 2.6 million BPD in 2020, while the growth of 0.95 million BPD is anticipated for 2021. The Debt Management Office disclosed that the federal government of Nigeria will offer 150 billion naira bonds for subscription in March. A circular by the DMO on its website showed that the breakdown of bonds consisted of 3 bonds worth 50 billion naira each. They are 10-year reopening bonds to be offered at the rate of 16.888% and to mature in March 2027. A 15-year reopening bond to be offered at 12.5% and mature in March of 2035. And the third and longest bond, which is a 25-year reopening bond, to be offered at a 9.8% and mature in July 2045. According to the DMO, the bonds will be auctioned on March 24 and a settlement date of March 26. To entertainment, movie star Chacha Eke Fanny has taken to her Instagram page on Thursday, March 18, to celebrate her husband on his special day. This is coming months after the actress publicly ended her marriage to Mr. Fanny. The actress later revealed that there was no issue with her marriage, as she said she was suffering from bipolar disorder. The actress said her husband had never laid hands on her, nor raised his voice on her. Still on entertainment, Lori Idahosa, pastor of the Church of God Mission International, has apologized to Nollywood veteran Pet Edochie after she called him out for saying his mother married at the age of 15. The actor revealed that his father, who was almost 40, married his mother at the age of 15. Idahosa apologized to Edochie over her comments. The mother of 3 said her tweet was misinterpreted. Idahosa said when she realized that the tweet was Idahosa said when she realized that the tweet was misinterpreted, she took it down immediately. And in sports, following the death of Tanzania's President John Magufuli, the Kenya Football Federation cancelled a friendly match against Tanzania that was scheduled to be played on Thursday in the capital, Nairobi. Coach Jacob announced it in a morning radio show. He did not indicate if it had been postponed to a later day. The friendly match was part of Kenya's preparation for African Cup of Nations qualification matches against Egypt and Togo scheduled for later this month. Sierra Leonean goalkeeper Alhaji Seisei has been sentenced to 10 years in prison for rape and attempted rape following separate attacks against 2 women. The Sierra Leonean, 22, who played for Bristol City, pleaded guilty for 2 counts of rape and attempted rape after the sentencing hearing on Wednesday at Bristol Crown Court. A jury heard how he subjected a woman to a serious sexual assault in the female toilet of a nightclub. After being arrested and released under police investigation, he targeted a second woman in the female toilet of a nightclub in London. After a 3-week trial at Bristol Crown Court, a jury convicted him of an attempted rape of the woman in Bristol and the attempted rape of the woman in London. Golden Eagles coach Fatai Amu has appealed to the Confederation of African Football (CAF) to consider Zambia to host the Under-17 African Cup of Nations. Morocco stepped down from hosting the tournament due to the coronavirus concerns with just few days to the competition. However, Zambia said they are still waiting on CAF as regards the country's willingness to host the 2017 Under-17 AFCON after the tournament originally to be staged in Morocco was cancelled. Reacting to these developments, the Eagles coach appealed to CAF to allow Zambia to host the competition. Still on sports, Chelsea sealed their place in the quarter-finals of the session's UEFA Champions League after defeating Atletico Madrid 2-0 in Wednesday's second leg round of 16 tie at Stamford Bridge. The Blues progressed 3-0 on aggregate after an Olivier strike sealed a 1-0 first leg win. With Wednesday's win, Chelsea have now qualified for the quarter-finals of the Champions League for the first time since 2013-2014 season. Chelsea opened the scoring on 34 minutes through Hakim, who finished off Timo Werner's pass from a swift counter. And that is it on TOS News 360. For more updates, visit our website at www.tostvnetwork.com. Do follow and like our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Do stay tuned to enjoy more programs on TOS Television News Network. I am Abigail Ukwade. Thanks for watching.
Audio